Good morning, Texoma, and thanks for joining us for another look inside Texoma. This morning, we're talking about the Texas Ranch Roundup. It is the 32nd year for this annual tradition. We're going to tell you all about the history and how it truly highlights 10 different Texas ranches and the things they do every single day. So joining me now with the very latest is Susan Knowles-Martin and also Mike Castle. Thank you both for being here, and with the North Texas Rehabilitation Center. And this is just a big event and definitely a huge event for Texoma. So let's just jump straight into this. It all kicks off Friday and Saturday are the big days. So
yes.
Talk about the rodeo, and it's a great family event.
It's a huge family event. I tell folks, you know, I didn't grow up around rodeo. I didn't grow up around horses and cattle, but it's so much fun to bring your family out and just be around the atmosphere, to walk around and see the chuck wagons, to go through the trade show, to experience our kids' roundup, and then sticking around for the nighttime events. It's a lot of fun for the whole family.
Definitely a whole day worth of activities too, or both of those days. Now, I understand this actually is a one-of-a-kind rodeo that even started here. I mean, this is the first one. It's expanded. I think others have taken ideas off of this. So can you tell us really how this rodeo got started, and then we'll kind of get into how your family can get involved, but really the history of it.
Well, in 1980 at the rodeo out the Mountain Patrol Arena, the PRCA event, some of the guys got to talking about how it'd be fun to have ranches compete. Some of our volunteers, some of the local folks, Eugene Weekly was involved, folks from Falls Distributing were involved, and just got to talking it up, and then went to Falls, and they got behind it, and just got an invitation list together from Joe Parker and Dick Yeager at the Wagner Ranch, and from some of those folks, of who we might invite to put together a rodeo, a team event that might replicate the old roundups from the 1880s. Everybody gets together at the end of the roundup, and a really, really historic, cool list of historic ranches. I mean, 120-year-old ranches was put together, and Joe Parker and Dick Yeager did most of the inviting, and not too many turned them down. Had a real large group accept that first year, and it was the ranches that you think of when you think of great historic Texas ranches. And we've tried to keep it that way over the years. It's an invitation event. And the idea took off elsewhere, and we actually helped the folks in Abilene and the folks in the valley put together events similar to this one. And then it started growing. Amarillo gained one, and then they also have got what's now called the World Championship Rodeo. But we were the first one, and are still recognized as the granddaddy, so to speak. But it's been a real joy. That those folks are such fun to work with. Most things are black and white. You don't have to worry about a lot of gray area stuff, and so you can really get a lot done in a short amount of time. And they're so supportive of the charities, and it's been a wonderful 32 years.
And you know, we should mention that this is all, you know, not only is it a neat piece of history and a lot of fun and a great family activity, but it is all for charity. I mean, there's a benefit behind all of this. So what is that, and what is the heart behind all of this?
Well, as Mike mentioned, you know, this thing was started with the ranches, and one of the things that they wanted was to make sure that this event benefited the people in their communities. And these ranches are scattered all over Texas, and so we picked the North Texas Rehab Center, the West Texas Rehab Center in Abilene, and the West Texas Boys Ranch in San Angelo. And really, you know, because they were kind of centrally located within where those ranches are. And over time, they just, you know, the proceeds have filtered to those three entities to the tune of almost $3 million. And
wow.
So you've helped a lot of folks. Just somebody coming and having a great time at the rodeo has benefited and allowed us and the other two charities to provide services to folks, you know, who otherwise probably couldn't afford that care. So, and that was central to the ranches. You know, they wanted it to be a great event and to showcase this talent, but they also wanted it to help folks.
You know, through those millions of dollars, what's able to be done to benefit patients there?
We allow folks to come get services whether they have insurance or ability to pay or not. The bulk of the proceeds stay here. We put the show on, and there's a formula, but some go to Abilene. Abilene West Texas Rehab has a facility similar to ours, same kind of programs, and then the Boys Ranch in San Angelo has about 20 to 25 boys that need help, need guidance, and stay there. So it's a varied benefit. But the bulk of it stays here, and we take care of a lot of kiddos because of the money that's flowed through over the years. Couldn't have done what we've been able to do without it.
Yeah, at the rehab center, we treat folks. We have the state's early childhood intervention program for this region is housed in our building, and then we provide therapy services to children starting at 3 and all the way up into older folks. And we do physical, occupational, speech, aquatic therapy, and it's so nice, when you have someone come through your door and they desperately need those services for whatever reason, and you're able to have an event like this provide those services to those folks and be able to do that for them and really change their life. Yeah. And so it's nice to have an event like this and to have it be the background, be helping folks. I love it.
What a great benefit. And again, this all comes from 32 years of a huge event here in Texoma. Can you go back to a little more of the ranches? I understand there are 10 different ranches, and where they're from Texas, of course, Texas Ranch Roundup, but are they from all over? Are they from a certain area since there are other roundups? Generally
from here to Abilene to San Angelo and north toward Amarillo, kind of the core of the large West Texas Range. Highway 82 kind of cuts it in half. The Johnson Burns ranches here in Clay County is the closest one. The W.T. Wagner estate, which everybody knows, is next closest. And we go down to the Brown Ranch in Throckmorton, and then we move west along 82 and spread in both directions. And there have been very few exceptions to that. The King Ranch from the valley came a couple of times, and we helped them get their own rodeo going. But generally, it's been a lot of these ranches that neighbor with each other, that knew each other, that sold horses and bulls to one another, and saw each other at Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers conventions. But there have been some come in that weren't really a part of that core that have become a part of that core and are great business friends and personal friends, and it's grown to be a big family. And it's really been a lot of fun.
And what's made it special is that, as Mike mentioned, when we started this thing 32 years ago, it was all about showcasing that ranch life, and we've stayed true to that, to the point that the folks that come here and compete, they work on those ranches. They're full-time employees, and so when they come here, they're coming here with their horses and they're and doing what they do every day. And so the folks that are doing the talent, or the folks that are doing the cooking, or people who cook on the ranch, or people who wives and relatives, and so it really is a family event and has maintained and stayed that way. And so I think that's what makes it just as special as well, because you do see generations coming year after, folks who have been in this since day one, and then now their children and grandchildren coming and competing as well. It's made it special. Because
you said 32 years, and I think you said like there's 6 or 7 original ranches that are still taking part from the start. So, what a great event, and it just shows, I'm sure, a lot of pride for them as well, to be able to take part and show off what they do to the community.
It's nice when you sit in a meeting and they tell you, now, as we mentioned, this thing has grown, and there are over 20 sanctioned ranch rodeos around this area, but they'll all sit in a room and tell you that this is the one they want to win, because they know that the history behind it and the charities and everything that goes behind it, this is the special one for them.
Pretty neat. Well, we have to take a quick break, but we're going to come right back with much more on how you can get involved and just the different things that are going to be showcased this coming weekend. So stay with us. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we are talking about the 32nd annual Texas Ranch Roundup. It all starts this Friday and Saturday right here in Wichita Falls. We just want to share a little bit about the schedule because there's a lot taking place, and it all kicks off Friday morning, right?
It does, and it's come a long way. We've added events over the years, and it'll really start things off Friday morning, Friday and Saturday morning, with our Bittsburg and Western Collectible Show. That'll run from 9 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. Just $5 gets you in the door. We have over 200 booths. And as I tell folks, it's a true Bittsburg and Western collectible show. So you're going to find some of the best bit and spur and saddle makers really in the world that are going to be at this event, on top of the clothing and the purses and the jewelry that everybody likes to come and see. So there's something for everybody. If you're looking for it, trust me, it's going to take you the 2 days to get through it. I've never been through it in just one day. So, but $5 will get you in the door, and you can walk all around and pick up some stuff. But then over at the Coliseum, we also have some events as well. We've got our Kids Roundup. That'll be Friday morning, beginning at 9 a.m. It is completely free. So we'll have petting zoo, we'll have pony rides, we'll have a mechanical bull, completely free for the kids. Come on out, check it out. And then following that, about 12:30, we're going to have a ranch cutting horse competition that'll take place. And then Saturday we'll continue, as I mentioned, the Pittsburgh Western Collectible Show will open up at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we've got the ranch horse competition taking place in the Coliseum, and we've also got a horse expert seminar that will take place as well. So plenty of daytime events on tap for folks to come out and check out, and just $5 gets you in the door for the daytime events. And then the rodeo will start nightly at 7 o'clock.
And the $5 is not for the kids roundup, though. Again,
right,
that's
it
all
is free.
So
it
you
is
want to bring your kids out there for something.
Exactly.
To do.
The kids roundup is the only free event during the day. Yes.
And are there food vendors and stuff? I mean, if you come out there and you're expecting to spend the whole day, what about, you know, lunch and snacks and different things like that?
MPEC will have their concession stands open in both facilities.
Okay.
And then we'll also have beer served, because Bud Light is our huge sponsor, and big thanks to Bud Light. They've been with us since day one. And so we'll have plenty of beer for the older folks, plenty of food for the kiddos and everybody else. So lots of stuff all day long in both facilities.
You can truly make a day out of
exactly.
it. 2 days, a weekend.
And we hope they do.
And what really is the big highlight for the children? Is it this roundup? I mean, is that the thing that you really encourage parents to bring their kids out to?
Well, I think it's a nice event to come out and just kind of, you know, again, if you're a city kid, it's great. We get a lot of daycares that come out and bring their kids, and they've never even seen, you know, up close a rooster, or they've never seen a pony. So it's so neat to see them in there, and Mike can attest, it's so fun to watch them running around chasing those rabbits. And it's just kind of neat for them to get on the rodeo grounds and to kind of kick around the dirt and walk around and see everybody, and just to have a good time and be in that atmosphere. But the rodeo itself is great. You know, my kids love coming and watching the horses and watching the cattle and seeing the cowboys do their work. It's just fun, even if you don't even know what's happening. If you're not a rodeo person, you're still going to enjoy it, because it's just a lot of fun to watch.
And that's important to mention, because although, you know, you might have grown up around that, especially living in Texoma, but maybe you didn't. So something, I guess, like you said, everybody can enjoy. Is there a time, though, can you mention the Friday and Saturday whenever the actual rodeo starts kicking off? Yeah,
the rodeo will begin at 7 o'clock both Friday and Saturday night. You will need to purchase tickets for that, and there are still tickets available. So you can either go to TexasRanchRoundup.com, or you can go to the MPEC box office, or you can go to the MPEC website. But there's still tickets available for both Friday and Saturday night. And it's the same show both nights, so if you can only come one night, we'd love for you to come Friday night. But it's a great time, and then we'll follow the Saturday night events with the award ceremony.
And we encourage people. A lot of people think of Saturday as always being the finals or the best night. It's the exact same show, and we come close to selling out on Saturday each year, if not selling out by Saturday afternoon. But we rarely, if ever, sell out on Friday. I was down at the box office this morning. There are a lot of really good Friday tickets available. Exact same show.
So that's important to mention, and go ahead and go get your tickets.
Yeah, and even if you just come for the wild cow milking, I mean, you really, it's worth the ticket, because it's the last event of the night, and I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's just unbelievable to watch, you know, full-time working, experienced cowboys trying to wrestle this really mad mama and get milk into a tiny little beer bottle, and then run the length of the arena and hope and pray that there is milk poured out. It's the best part of the night. I think it's just it's so much fun to watch, and everybody gets a kick out of it, and that's how we finish every night. So.
I love it. I mean, just your description alone makes you want to go watch it, right? So
it's definitely worth the price of admission. We've had all sorts of hijinks in the wild.
We've had all sizes and shapes of cowboys and ages run the length of that arena, and it's worth the ticket.
Last year we had a huge cowboy run completely out of his chaps.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, behind, almost out of his shirt.
We've lost boots.
But he came up smiling.
Yeah. I love it. What are some of the different activities people can expect to see? Because it's a competition. I mean, they're out there to win.
Well, outside of the rodeo events, which you think of, and that's what all other ranch rodeos are, the arena events, the stock, the horses and all that. Ours is the only ranch rodeo in which the entire ranch families compete with one another and involved. So the ranch cooks or their helpers were involved in the cooking contest. Any of the family members can be involved in the photography, the crafts, the various talent competitions, and in the music and skits. And the music and skits are great to see too. They're on Saturday afternoon. And that gives the young and the old, plus the cowboys, ownership in the thing, so to speak. And we have had Cowboys complain of getting beat by a bowl of beans or a plate of squash.
Which has happened.
But that's okay. You know, they will tell you that sure they want to win, but they're there for the charities, so it's all in fun, and everybody roots for each other. It's not one of those. It's more like the Olympics where there's not a lot of people hoping for the other one to do poorly.
Sure.
Yeah, the food is definitely a highlight, because just to walk around and see them, they have to cook from the chuck wagon over the open flame with Dutch ovens the same way they would have, you know, back in the day.
In August in North Texas.
August in North Texas. They are very careful, by the way, but yes, they have to do that. We give them a menu. The menu rotates every year, and there's a 4-year rotation. So this year we're going to have stew, beans, cobbler, and cornbread. It's not really hard to find judges. That's usually the first thing that goes every year. In fact, we have people calling us in January.
Can I
be a judge? So it's never hard to find a judge, and they do a fantastic job. And so they'll cook that on Saturday and bring that menu in, and it's huge. Like Mike said, I mean, they want to win. They want to be able to say they had the best, you know, stew or the best cornbread. But we add those point totals along with their talent. The talent will be on display in the exhibit hall both days. Each ranch has a booth, and they pick. There's 5 categories. They pick 3 of those 5. So they'll have Western handiwork, they'll have painting, they'll have photography. Whatever they've chosen will be displayed in that booth. And some of the best photography you will see, and these folks aren't professionals. A lot of them will make their own spurs. Some of them make their own saddles. Some of them will do some unbelievable painting. You'll see furniture, some really, really beautiful furniture. And so they get judged on that, and they'll get points for that. And all those points will be added up, and then we'll add them into the rodeo points and determine the overall winner. And as Mike said, we actually have had folks win over a meatloaf before, and, you know, because it's that close in the standings. But it's a lot of fun, and it's so great to see how it just incorporates the entire family, because when we're handing out those awards on Saturday night, it won't just be a group of cowboys out there waiting for the awards. You will have entire groups of families and everybody that works on that ranch standing there waiting to celebrate.
About how many people is it? I'm sure maybe it varies, but, you know, that makes up a ranch, you know, a team, so to speak. Do you know?
Well, in the arena, it's usually 4 to 6 people, and they're not always guys. There's a few young ladies that have participated over the years. But beyond that, well, you look out during the award ceremony, you may see 15 to 25 people that have had a part somewhere.
In that competition.
And the squash casserole wins, and everybody's arms go up in the air, and they carry them on their shoulders and things like that, just like they'd won the rodeo. So.
Yeah, and our trophy is a sight to behold. It's a beautiful bronze trophy, and it feels like 300 pounds. It's huge, but it's a big deal to win that trophy and be able to take it back to your ranch for a year. And you know, the winners of the events getting spurs, and we have lots of great events. And the thing that makes it possible, not just the ranches being involved, but as our sponsors. We have some amazing sponsors, starting off, as I mentioned before, with Bud Light, but a lot of great sponsors that we could not put this event on without them. And they've really kept it. They're either involved because they work with the ranches, they want to support it, they care about the charities. Everybody's involved because they really care about this event and the people who are involved in it. And that's what makes it, again, so special, because it really does add to that family atmosphere.
Pretty interesting. A neat piece of history. And, you know, you mentioned the sponsors. There's also a lot of volunteers that go into making this happen. We need to take another quick break, but more on how you can even help out making this another year of success. We're going to get to that right after the break. Stay with us.